Losing my mom was not as hard as losing shares.
Okay, how come? Because you were still young at the time. I would have been broken.
Okay, my mom passed on when I was 16, right?
Yeah.
And at that time, I think what was going on in my mind a lot of time was the anxiety. Oh my God, are we going to lose the house?
How
How are we
gonna
going to
survive?
survive?
Yes.
Okay, I promised her to be a good girl. And my
Okay.
mom was very sick. A part of me was like, maybe she's at peace. Because
Everything.
what I've noticed since the passing of shares is many things don't matter. Many people don't matter. It's just shares.
Because you have went
shares.
through that, then whatever.
Yes. And again, Timelang Abusheni, hello from wherever you are watching us from. Welcome to Success Link, a podcast where we talk about anything and everything. I am your host, Lekha Khonolo, all the way from Zanin. So today, I don't even think I need to introduce this person because she's more like a co-host now or
I'm part of the family.
you're part of the family.
Yes,
But I'm sure there are those that are new
Yes,
who don't know you.
Definitely.
Yes. Hi, Geneva.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm sick. I don't know why I'm here because I'm sick.
Ne?
I'm going to be coughing the whole session. So
Flu is a normal thing. I don't think there's anyone who would be like, oh.
It's not COVID, ne?
It's not COVID.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
As long as it's not COVID, then we are fine.
Yes.
Fine. Hi, everybody, and thank you for having me again.
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm going to have you again and again and again.
I can't wait.
Yes. Otherwise, how are you?
I'm fine. Apart from my flu, but I'm fine. I'm fine. It's raining.
Wait.
The weather is so bad.
Raining where?
Everywhere.
No, not in Zanin.
In Zanin, it's so bad. When I was coming here, it was misty. My child was like, "Mama, is that snow? Is that snow?"
Snow at the Mahua's Kloof.
Mahua's Kloof, yes. So the weather is so bad. It doesn't really feel like festive season. Salabon.
Yeah, I always tell people that before I knew Cape Town, because I always heard about how the weather in Cape Town is.
Yes.
I always said Zanin is like Cape Town. We just don't have an ocean.
Yes. But I think Cape Town, they have more sun.
Is it?
Than Zanin. Yes,
I don't know.
You guys don't see the sun.
I don't really know Cape Town.
I've never come to Zanin and it was hot. Never.
Really?
It's always cloudy. It's always rainy. Yes. No. But I like it. I love the vibe. I love it.
You must come and stay in Zanin. There's so many, places that are
Maybe
beautiful.
One day. Are we going to talk about this book?
Which book?
This one that you wrote. The author.
Yes, Madam
the
author.
Of the Road of Sharon. I want us to talk about this book.
Okay.
I bought this book during the launch. On your birthday when you did the launch. I bought the book. But I never read it. So I bought the book and I gifted it. So today I'm going to buy another one because I no longer have a book. So I bought this book and around, I can't remember when it was, I think 3 months later, I gifted it to a friend.
Okay.
I gave it to her, Bernice, on Saturday night. She read it. On Sunday night, she was done.
Okay.
She was done with it.
All right.
And then she was like, oh my God, I can't believe that Chloe wrote something like this. This is so good, but emotional as well. So the reason why I'm afraid to read this book, I know everything that's happening in this book because obviously... How
sure are you because you didn't read the book?
No, I got it from the horse's mouth, directly from the horse's mouth. So during our conversation, as we getting to know each other, a lot of things that you wrote in here, I already knew about them. But the reason why I'm not buying this book, reading this book, is because I fear... I have a fear of my emotions. Everybody who's giving a review
on the
book, they are teary, they are heartbroken, they are sad because the things that are in this book, they are not anything that I would wish even on my number one enemy. Understand? So I don't want to get myself to feel that kind of emotion. I don't, because I don't want to be sad. I'm already sad thinking about you knowing what you went through, but I don't wanna read it.
But it's a beautiful book.
I
hey,
know it's a beautiful book.
It's not all. It doesn't really make everyone sad.
They also talk about the fact that somebody said that you are a comedian. Because some of the things that are in here, they're actually very funny. How you wrote them down, people actually, they laugh. You understand?
Yeah.
So I get those parts. But if somebody can highlight to me to say that the funny part is page 21, line that, then I can go for the funny part. But otherwise, for me, it's a very painful thing to have gone through.
Yeah. Okay, you want us to talk about the book?
But the question that I have right now that I want to ask you about before, yes. Do you miss your mom?
My mom.
Yes, do you miss your mom?
It's been 19 years since my mom passed.
Yeah.
I don't miss her.
You don't?
Nope. Not
when
anymore.
When you think about her, do you still have those? Do you still feel sad?
I think before Shes passing.
Yeah.
Right now, ever since Shes passing, I think my mom... I hardly even think about my mom.
So Shes has taken over everything.
Yes. I hardly think about my mom. I think I only miss my mom when there are, those, I can say, those moments that I want to celebrate and I just wish she was there, But missing her, oh my God, I wish you were here.
Yes.
Not anymore, yes.
Serious?
Not at all. I don't know if maybe I'm still heartbroken, but before Shes passing, I used to. But now...
Can it be a sign that you have healed from her passing?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Unless if it's just that right now, because Shes passing is just so recent, that it's just taken over.
Everything.
Because what I've noticed since the passing of Shes is... many things don't matter. Many people don't matter. It's just Shes.
Because you have went through that, then whatever.
Yes. And again, losing my mom was not as hard as losing Shes.
Okay, how come? Because you were still young at the time. I would have been broken.
Okay, my mom passed on when I was 16, right?
Yeah.
And at that time, I think what was going on in my mind a lot of time was the anxiety. Oh my God, are we going to lose the house? How are we going to survive?
Yes.
Okay, I promised her to be a good girl.
Okay.
And my mom was very sick. A part of me was like, maybe she's at peace.
Yes.
Yeah, it was just those...
if I were to go through everything that your mom went through, I'd be a ghost. I won't rest. I promise you, I won't rest. The way I'm so petty, I won't rest. I will feel like life was so unfair to me. Understand? How come I have this Mr. Unknown,
no name,
Mr. No Name guy? Like I would not rest because I'm a lover girl. Whenever I see a couple, whenever I see married people, already in my mind comes happily ever after. Already in my mind comes happiness in marriage. Already in my mind comes those kind of things. And for me to think, she did not receive that entirely. You understand? I would be a heartbroken ghost.
I think I'll also cause toy in heaven because I was like, what do you mean?
What do you mean it's over for me?
But I think my mom, she was one of a rare human beings.
Yeah.
And I think towards the end, she also wanted to just pass on, because I remember 2 months before she passed, she's like to me, let's take a walk. At that time, she can't even walk by herself. I'm like, where are we going? She says, you will see.
Yeah.
We leave home. So where we stay is not far from the cemetery. It's just a walking distance. As we walk, we are approaching the cemetery. I'm 16 years. I'm like, okay.
What are we doing?
Where are we going? Then we get into the cemetery. It was around September because she passed in November.
Yeah.
The cemeteries in town, they are well taken care of.
Yes.
And then I think there was sprinkling, the water was busy. Sprinkling. Yeah, the lawn, the grass was green. There were people working there. And she was so happy. She was like, I might not have had a white person as a neighbor. Yeah. But at least when I die, I'll have them as I'll have a neighbor
who is a white person in the grave.
In the grave. And I was so bored. No, I was so bored. I'm like, girl, why would you say that?
Yeah.
I was so bored for days, and she was so happy. And she said to me, when I die, please tell your uncles and my mom to not take me back into the village.
Yes.
I want to be laid here.
Yes.
And I was like, okay. Days after that, me and my siblings used to fight a lot. And she'd be like, you guys, why are you busy fighting? Is this what you left? You know, towards the end, she was talking a lot about death. And I remember she taught us this song that says, fasing lena ke tla tloga malwetse a ka a tlo fela ke kgathetse ke nyaka khutso eto la ka se le fedile. So basically I think given her journey, her health, how hard things were for her, she was exhausted and she just felt gore whatever happens, God, let it happen, you know. But I still say I would not have made peace if it was me.
I'm like I said, I would have been
and I think her preparing us for to a certain extent is what made us. Of course, we didn't have a choice, but to just accept you know, her passing, and being the firstborn daughter. Though I was not a firstborn child, but I was a firstborn daughter. I felt like now I need to be a mother of the house, you know. Shez was 13 years, you know, and I need to make sure the house is clean. Everything is just, the house is running smoothly. So I took that. I didn't have time to be crying over my mom's passing. You know, I saw her, girl was very sick. You know, there was no time. I would cry, yes. But I think one thing that was happening to me more than anything else was anger. I was just so angry. And I became such a rude human being.
Oh my God.
I was very rude at some point in my life.
Were you not being in detention at school because maybe?
No, at school I was such a sweet child. Just don't step on my toes at that time, because whatever was going to come out of my mouth at that particular time. Yes, but it was more of anger. I think I hardly cried for my mom. Like, I cried here and there, but most of the time I just felt the sense of I need to be strong. I'm the mother of the house, you know. I remember at some point this other lady, you know, Basadi Bauriksha Mustrate, says to me one day, I think I was by then in matric, and that's like 3 years after my mom's passing. She says, Nana, how are you? I'm fine. She's like, who do you stay with at home? I'm like, my brother. She's like, where's your mom? I'm like, she passed on. She's like, you know what? I've been observing you for the past few years. So apparently I used to go buy the tamati, the eye, or a child your age.
But now, do you feel like you have skipped stages of being a little girl and you quickly grew up to be this responsible woman because there was no other woman in the house? Like your childhood was stolen from you?
I don't want to think it like that.
Okay.
But my mom, before she passed on, she said to me, you need to leave your age.
Yes.
Go out, you know.
Do what other kids are doing.
Do what other things your kids your age are doing.
Yes.
You know, your life cannot be centered around church and school. So I think even when she was still alive, I had already had a certain lifestyle that I'm living. Stay at home. I go to church, I go to school, I do my chores. And yes, but the thing is, I've always been like that, you know. I just didn't like going out. I'm not an introvert, but I just didn't like going out, you know. I just felt like kids my age, guys, what are you doing? I'm like, guys, what are you doing? You know, maybe I always thought of myself as a young, I don't know, you know, that those people who, they're young people, but it seems like they're older inside. I feel like I've always been like that. And I still had my own fun, just that my fun in my own way.
Even now, you still have fun in your own way.
In my own way.
Your fun, my fun.
Yes, my fun, it's chilled. My fun, it's adult, in a level adult. So I've never really thought of it as if like I lost. Maybe I have.
But because it's not your thing, you are not aware.
Keep behaving like an idiot.
I'm going to beat you. I'm going to give you a beating. And with Mahoga, how has him being available for you guys changed your life or saved your lives? Because I know that he had to also give up certain things so that he can be able to make sure that you guys are well taken care of.
If I had money, guys, I was going to switch off the DSTV channels. And then I was just going to do that.
I think he has done a good job.
No, he has done a good job, but he was very strict.
I'm sure he had to be.
He taught us to, I would say for me, to know that everything that I'm doing, right, everything that I'm doing, I need to think about the next person, and also I am responsible for my own, success, for my own happiness, my own.
Yeah.
And one important thing is just that he taught me to not seek validation from anyone else.
Yeah.
Because of how he raised us. Nabutaka was very strict, and when you achieve things that sometimes it felt like he's being harsh, but now when I look back, he was not being harsh.
Yeah.
You understand? He was just saying to us, stop seeking validation from other people, because we're like, yeah, but take a passage. He'd be like, because
you would be expecting, oh, congratulations,
No.
I'm so proud of you.
Nope.
Yes.
He will tell you that, no, you did for yourself. I'm like, But as I grow up and starting getting to, like I say, my mom, when she was alive,
Yeah.
we used to fight a lot as siblings.
Okay.
We couldn't stand each other. Like we couldn't even hold conversations. Yes, we were young, but you would swear that we are enemies. But immediately after my mom dies,
then you guys
we became closer. But in that closeness, I think my brother still maintained, I'm a parent here. I'm responsible for you guys to behave.
Yes.
You need to go to church. You need to go to school. You need to. And because we respected him,
yes.
except, okay, my second brother, he was just
I wanted
his
to
own
come
thing.
to that other brother, that other one.
My other brother was just, but which makes sense because him and Butma, they're just a few years apart. You know? But for me and Shares, we had to, he was our mother, he was our father. I remember at some point, I think, is it Shares wanted something and she called a certain aunt asking for that thing. And then Butma came back, he sat her down, hi. Why did you call so and so to ask 1, 2, 3?
Yes.
If I don't have something to, if I say I can't give you something,
then you sit down.
You make peace with it. You don't go around
asking for other people.
and asking other people, and even taking care of ourselves. Like as a girl, you need to love yourself. You need to be clean. Your space needs to be clean.
100.
He would, he enforced that. Not in a nice way, but he enforced it because
I think he didn't have to be nice, because if he had been nice, you guys would have not got what he was trying to build.
No, we were not gonna get it because I remember when I was in matric, I didn't do dishes. I knew that you can't sleep without doing your dishes, but one particular day I just didn't.
do.
And he came back around 10. Oh, brother gets there, do whatever he's doing, relax, do it. When he was about to go to sleep, he wakes me up. He's like, hi, do you have a tokoloshi? I'm like, no. It's like those dishes that you left in there. Who's
going to do them?
It's like, wake up. In the AM, so
I'm sure you were angry.
Of course, but I can't.
No, you can't
there's
show
nothing
it,
that,
obviously. You just die inside.
And that's when I realized, now when I think about it, looking at people who do not have parents, especially teenagers and everything, if that thing was done by my aunt, I was going to be like, they hate me. They don't love me. You're naked, but because it was my own brother, it didn't understand.
I have a friend, at the time, her daughter was 10 years old. 9, 10. So she says to me, when I got home today, the dishes were done, my baby made me tea, the house was clean. I'm like, why did you enforce it at such a young, early age? And then she said to me that, should I die today, my sisters, they are going to take my child so that they can raise her. And when they ask her to do the dishes, she's going to think that they are abusing her because she's not used to doing it at home.
Exactly. Yes. And what's most of the time, I like to say that most orphans or bana ba hloka batswadi, they're very problematic.
They are.
They don't want to be reprimanded, and then every time, and what makes it worse is the other relatives in the family, right? Let's say I stay with you, especially if you start staying with them as teenagers. Okay, go do 1, 2, 3, 4 to her, because she's not used to that. Then she goes to Aunt B to say, Auntie Khomotso did 1, 2, 3. Auntie B, instead of saying, Nana, you need to go do your chores. They be like, Ramotseba yo. No, Ramotseba.
They make the other auntie to be a problem.
They make the other auntie to be a problem. And remember, kids are just, even your own kids are just problematic. Kids are
just problematic.
And they need to understand that. But most of the time, that's why people, most orphans, they're not really being abused. most
No, it's just that they need to do the things that they were not used to doing them at home, and then they take that as a
or maybe because of the party bargaining sympathy that they've been getting, they feel they can just get away with anything. The moment you start obakhala, it's like, you know.
I know also this man, he lost his wife, and then he's raised their daughter by himself, obviously, but he gave her everything. And when I say everything, it's not just the material things. Everything was a yes. Everything was a yes. Everything was a yes. And I don't blame him per se. He did that because he didn't want the child to feel some type of way, or no, I don't have a mother in it. But he has spoiled her for everyone. We can't mother that child right now, because whenever you are saying this is not how we do things, this is what you must do, and then they start to be like lantwing. But I think what Mabuti Mahuka did was a very
I think I also thankful for my brother, because when the family was thinking, okay, I also have it in the book, because we had 2 years. My mom died after almost a year and few months of us staying in town. The bond house, now she passes, who's supposed to pay
for it,
and at home she demolished the house because she didn't want Mr. No Name to come back and find anything to stay in. So, but like enough, because she was a teacher, when her pension money and everything came, we had to direct all of it
to the house.
Like literally all of it to the house, And the family was like, okay, Sibani will take this.
So
my brother stood firm and was like, no, I will raise them.
I'll raise them myself.
I'll raise them. And everyone was like, how? You're not working. You understand? He was young himself, 21. But he's like, no, God will provide. My mom's favorite line. God will provide.
And indeed, God has provided.
It was not easy for him.
Obviously.
But for us, honestly, I've never felt like I don't have parents.
100.
I remember the first time that I came home very late. It was around 7 p.m. My brother didn't talk to me for 3 days. And I was doing my third level at university.
And at that time, you think that you are a full-grown woman.
Yeah, I'm like, this dude needs to relax.
And then the famous Shezi. I've never seen anyone who has died and they trend. They trend for like 2-3 weeks after they are passing, after the burial. We forget about them. I mean, how many months or years? It's been a year and a couple of months.
It's been a year and 6 months now.
6 months. And Sharon, she's still trending.
And she's gonna trend.
And she's still trending. When you were on the radio that other week, it was Cape Radio.
Cape Radio, yeah.
And then I'm like, oh my God, the people in Cape Town now, they know Sharon. Like everybody in the whole world who is she's part of the current affairs. Like everybody knows. How was your relationship with her?
Before we get into that, guys, let's take Tyler Perry. There's a book that needs a movie.
We need to do like a documentary on this. We need a movie on this book. So everybody must take Tyler Perry, please. Or Connie Ferguson. We have our own Tyler Perry.
The book is nice, even if I have to say so myself, because I've lived the experiences in there.
Yes.
And it's not only about shares, but the lessons in there, it's for anyone. Life is very hard for many people, and sometimes we just need to hear or see that other people are doing it. Okay, so if this person has been through 1, 2, 3, I too can also be there. Remember, in life, it's all about giving hope. We all need hope to just take one extra step, because life is very hard. Coming back to your question.
Yes.
My relationship with shares. I think I had three caps that I had to wear with her.
Okay.
I had to wear a cap of being a mother.
Yes.
And being a sister.
Yeah.
And being a friend.
100.
Right? And they can switch at any time.
Depending on the situation.
Yeah. I could be wearing a cap of a sister or a friend, and she does something that requires me to quickly switch
and be a mama.
And be a mother. And then So when I wear the cap of being a mother to shares, it was not nice.
Obviously.
Mother and daughter, it was not nice, because it's a lot of discipline.
Yes.
And sometimes I think I also I was a bit unfair here and there. I only see it now, but at that time I didn't see it because I shout a lot.
But I think at the time you were doing it out of love.
Yes.
You were doing it to put a structure.
Yeah. So and then that's when I'm a mother. And when I'm a sister, I'm a bit understanding, here and there. That one was more chilled. I think I didn't wear the sister cap a lot of times.
Okay.
Because I remember some point she was like, I wish you could just be my sister for once. I'm like, I'm not going to be your sister. You understand? So it was...
And she had a voice.
She had a voice.
And if she wanted to make a certain point, she doesn't care how you're going to feel, she's going to make that point.
Yes, she's going to make it. Then
Yes.
But then I think towards the last few years,
Yeah.
I was more of a friend.
Yeah.
Yes, because she was my go-to person. We talk. I'll be driving from Joburg to Zanin.
Yeah.
We'll be on the phone the entire time. We spoke a lot. We laughed a lot. We joked a lot.
Yeah.
We used to make so many jokes, and some were a bit weird and dark because, we'd be joking about death,
Yes.
not knowing that it's, looming, But we had a good relationship, man. We had our own ups and downs as siblings.
Of course.
We fought a lot, and those fights mostly was relating to house chores because my
Those were
sister...
not fights.
my sister didn't like house chores.
Yeah.
Yes, but in general, I think our relationship was normal, was
Yes,
healthy.
yes,
And then we chose to be friends at it, because...
And I think as you guys grew older, you were like, okay, there's nobody else than my sister.
Especially there's some secrets that you are my friend,
You
I
can't
love
tell
you,
anyone.
but I'll tell you
know.
but then that those were now I need to go deep, then
Yes,
I'll have to
yes,
say,
yes.
hey dude, Pella, 1, 2, 3, 4. But I think we had an amazing relationship, man. We had I would say it's healthy,
Yes.
because we would fight now. I remember one day we fought. Well, I said things, like I say, sometimes I've got a loose tongue, I just talk, and I'll get that shucks, I should not have said that. Then utlangala, then because I stayed 3 streets from my mom's house.
Okay.
Then utlangala, and then she will go back home. But when she get there, being home means that she needs to cook, she needs to do something, and then she realizes, no,
I don't want to do it.
then she'll
I'm
come
going
back.
Yes.
And then as she enters, so my kitchen window, it's facing the gate.
Yeah.
As she enters, I start laughing. Then we meet
then you
outside.
start
We start laughing. So we had such a good relationship.
That's
Honestly,
good. That's good. How did Zap color the whole family? How did Zap color everyone?
Yeah, Lekompala town.
Lekompala town.
So my brother, okay, number one, we are 4, right? It's 4 siblings, right? But Zep, I would say he's the one that has more patience,
Okay.
more love.
Yes.
Understand that?
It's always them who've got
Zep
more love.
just live his own life, Zep, you are siblings, whatever you owe, what yours is mine.
Yes,
as
yes.
siblings,
In community.
in community of property as siblings, and you, even if you are angry, he doesn't take your anger to heart.
Yeah.
Like he's just living his life.
People like that, they live longer.
Zep just lives his own life. You can shout, he won't respond to you. Unless maybe he just had.
Yes.
But rather than that, he's just gonna, look at you and then walk away. Not so long ago, he was telling me that, Khomotso, when she started pere I just switch off my phone. But I think he made us. I think he just makes us to be on our feet all the time.
Yes,
you cannot
yes,
relax
yes.
because when he's out, you are worried.
Yeah.
Is he gonna come back safe? You know.
Yeah.
But he's one person who has more love. If I am to assess all of us as siblings, I think he doesn't hold grudge.
Yeah.
He loves us all unconditionally. Yeah, it's just that of course he used to frustrate us here and there, especially because what's yours is his.
Yes,
He doesn't even see a need to ask.
He just comes and he
Yes,
takes.
and when you are angry, he doesn't even understand. Like, I thought we are
think people
siblings.
like that, they bring balance. They bring balance at home, or they bring balance into the
And
family.
oratam groove like
Obviously.
he's
One of you has to love
he just loves
Mugruvo,
me
no, one of you
groove.
has to love
Yeah,
Mugruvo.
but he's a sweetheart, man.
He is. I met him a couple of times. He is a sweetheart. Have you found healing in writing this book? About everything, like everything from the abuse, from the beatings, from losing your mom, from Sharon, like everything. Have you found some sort of healing while writing this book?
To a certain extent, I would say yes. For number one, I think I've accepted that I'm never gonna get the story that I've been waiting for from Mr. No Name. So that's, I think, there. But in terms of, okay, in our childhood traumas, certain things, I
Yes.
think it's time. When I wrote it, I felt like, nah, I think I need to let it go.
Let it go,
I need to let it go. It happened. Lessons have been learned, and now it's a story to tell other people and for them
100%.
to be able to know what not to do and what to do, especially mothers that are in abusive relationships, right?
100%, yes,
Yes,
yes, yes.
sometimes my mom, for instance, there are those people who used to say, "How do you anya go tsamaya?" Now my mom tried running away from that man many times. She didn't win the fight, but I always refer to her as our Moses because at the end of the day, she was able to leave. I remember one day I heard her pray that, God, you can take me anytime, but don't take me while my kids, if I'm going to leave my kids in this situation. And
Yes,
immediately once we came out of that abusive situation, she just lived a year or so, then she passes. But the good thing about it is at least she didn't leave us in the hands
in
of that,
kind of
in that kind of a
situation.
situation.
So, in writing this book, have you found healing? Like, have you found that it's helping you with your childhood trauma, the anxiety, like everything that you guys have went through? Have you found?
I think to a certain extent,
Yeah.
yes. I think now the fact that now I feel writing it gave me a reason to see why I went through what I went, especially now that people, when they read the book, they can relate. Some people are able to say,
I'm so petty. I would have been angry at God. I don't see a reason why people should go through things like this.
I was to a certain time, but
Sure.
now as I started writing the book, for instance, I know now that I will never get the story that I've been waiting for
Yeah.
Mr. Nunim. And I remember some point I once told, he was talking to Shares on the phone. I told him that until he come and ask for forgiveness. And he told me I need to heal. He has made things right with his God. And that made me so angry.
How do you say that?
Yes, but now after writing the book, I realized that no, it's time that I need to let go of some of the things that he has done to me and my family. You understand that? Because
for your peace.
certain things were done to me. You know, the beatings. And I felt like, no, I'm never going to get the sword that I want from this guy. And he doesn't even see the need to come say, I'm sorry for the life that I made you guys,
True,
live.
yes,
And I think it's something that happens a lot. But writing about it, the more I wrote about the experiences, the more I realized, no, man,
How do you think your life would have turned out if, I get what you are saying, when writing the book has made you realize why certain things had to happen and da. How do you think your life would have turned out if this Mr. No Name had not came into your life? I'm pretty sure that your mom would still be alive. How do you think
as
things
Christy,
would have turned out?
I don't like to give him that credit, though I feel
say,
you understand, but I feel in life, God knows, how many days he gives a person.
100%.
Just that unlike when we give birth, we know it's either through the normal birth or C-section.
Yes.
But in terms of living, there's
don't
a
know.
lot that can happen. Understand? So I feel another God that I pray to, it's not like he was unable.
He was
She
able.
could still be able. She was still gonna be alive if he wanted to. But I think her time was just up.
Her time was just up, and okay, then that brings me to this. Okay, it's gonna maybe hurt a bit, but do you think that God has used Mr. No Name to fulfill his purpose of taking your mom? I agree. Our days are numbered, right? When our days are numbered, it means that how I'm going to die is unknown, right? So, do you think that God has used this Mr. No Name to do whatever so that at the end of the day your mom's life can come to an end? How would you?
No, because here's the thing. Like, remember, my mom didn't pass in his hands, right?
100%,
right?
yes.
My mom was sick.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And she could have taken medication and, live
Okay.
long, right?
Yes.
But he used Mr. No Name for us to see how powerful he is.
Okay.
According to me.
Yes.
Because there are certain things that we have been through. If God was not there, we could have, all been unalived or
Yes,
would have
yes.
left the earth through his hands.
In his
You
hands.
understand? So I don't
Okay.
want to give him that credit.
Okay, I get what you mean.
But I
I
think,
get what you
yes,
mean.
I think for other things and the lessons and
Yeah.
the strength, and today I'm an author. If he was not part of the
You were
story,
never gonna have a story to
he's the part
tell.
of the story. Now I've got a story to tell, and also, and also through, us and his experience, other people can just learn, Jorge, don't do this, the red flags, the what, this and
Then
this
you
and this.
can immediately see what that's a no-good area. What you're saying,
Yes.
it reminds me of, I'm not a Bible person, but it reminds me of a certain verse in the Bible, Ecclesiastes chapter 3. It talks about a time for everything.
Exactly.
Everything happens at the time that God chooses. He chooses a time for birth and a time for death, a time for happiness and a time
For
to be
sorrow,
sad.
yeah.
He also says that a time for making love and a time for not
Hey,
making
what
love.
about that?
That's our God. Yeah, but yes, there is a time for everything.
Yes,
There is a time for
and it's
everything.
unfortunate. Remember, God has to use people for good and for
100%.
bad. You know,
Yes,
even though I
yes.
recently saw something on TikTok that asked, this lady was like, "What's the reason for it all? Why are we here? What's the reason?" And we will never know, But at the end of the day, we are here.
We are here
We
and we
need to
just
be
have
alive,
to,
and things are gonna happen. You understand?
I think this brings us to the conversation that we had on our second podcast, the second or the first one, where we spoke about karma. If God is using you to get me to a certain stage, but in order for me to get there, you have to betray me, God is not going to come
Exactly,
for you.
because I've done my purpose.
You've done it. Whether the purpose was to make me sad or was to make me laugh, you've done your
I've done my purpose.
Yes. So I think for you guys to carry on with your life, to achieve everything that you guys have, instead of sitting and saying, we are waiting for karma to come for him, where do you think you would be today?
It's like what you say is so profound, because there's so many people who are sitting with anger,
Yes.
relationships, friendships, what you're
Waiting for karma to hit somebody.
No.
It's
Remember,
not gonna get
even
there.
if you can sit and wait for Lehlohonolo to go through a rough patch, I'm gonna go through a rough patch because I'm a person and I'm still alive. This
And
is
you
life
are
we
meant
all,
to go
and you're going to
through.
rejoice at something that it has nothing to do with you.
Yes.
It has nothing to do with what I've done to you. I don't think God punishes us while we are still here. I get they say we're going to die and we're going to be judged. I don't think we get judged while we're here. I often hear people saying, yeah, when you've done something or people have done something, and when they go through bad things, be like, yeah, God, relax.
I think the lesson in all of this that you have said, in everything that you've written in the book, for me, I'm taking what I must never put my life on hold just because a certain situation has happened to me. I'm going to pick up whatever the pieces that are remaining, and then I'm just going to carry on with my life.
Exactly, because you cannot allow to die when you're still alive.
No,
you cannot allow.
I think you have to choose life.
You need to find strength somewhere, because for me, for the longest time, after Cher's passing, I just couldn't even go to church anymore. I was so angry at God. I just felt like he betrayed me. Like I just didn't understand. I knew people die, but not my sister.
Not yet. Not yet.
Yes, at least we often fantasized about when we grow old, we are the same ages. My grandmom and her younger sister are still alive, both of them. They are both, my grandmother is 95, the other one is 80 something or 90. Yes. And we it was unexpected.
100%.
Cher's passing was very, very extremely unexpected, and yeah, man. So I I'm being emotional. I don't want to cry. I don't want to cry. Yeah.
Emotional. But I think that you putting everything into this book, I'm very proud of you. There are a lot of things that you said that you were going to do that you never get to do, or you start them but you don't finish them.
I don't finish a lot of things.
There are a lot of things. Yes. So I'm very proud that you had the courage to actually finish this book and put the story out.
No, I had to, you know what, I had to finish this book. You know why? Because one, Kidiweni used to say, they're going to read me in the books.
That's what she used to say.
Yeah, she used to say, they're going to read me in the books. And I felt like, hey, baby girl,
Let me make that
let make
happen,
it
yes, let
happen.
me make that
And
happen.
also for the boys, because she left 2 boys.
Yes.
And I'm like, they're gonna grow up. We're gonna heal. Like you initially asked me about my mom. As years goes by, I stopped talking more about my mom. It's like you accept, we move on.
Yeah.
The boys are still young. Eventually, it's gonna get to a point where they now start having questions. They start to understand. And
Then
being
they can
boys,
have all the
yes,
answers
I'm
in
not sure
them.
what characters they're gonna be having. Will they come and ask me about their mother? Hence, I wrote the book.
Yes.
And then there's that song. And then there's also the documentary that's
Yes.
coming, just mostly for the boys, but also for me.
healing
It's how,
journey.
yes, for me, I'm still holding on to shares.
Yeah.
Me doing all these things, you spoke of how you've never met someone who passed on, they trended.
Yes.
For me, I'm doing all these because it helps me to cope.
100%,
You know, it helps.
100%.
It's not even about shares, it's more about me, how I choose
Yeah.
to remember her, to honor her, and
I think
together.
that doing what you're doing, you're choosing health over depression and anxiety.
Yeah.
Because talking about her, you are releasing, you're choosing life over depression.
The level of crying the other day, I was driving. I stopped and said,
You
cry.
said
Yo, I cry. No, I cry. Like, I cry.
Crying is good.
I cry.
I
And
cry a lot as well.
yeah, I cry, man. I
cry a lot as well.
Yeah,
I think when you cry, you are releasing. I don't know. How did you come up with the Rose of Sharon?
The Rose of Sharon.
Yes.
She came up with that.
Seriously?
Yes.
How? When?
Because whenever she wrote, okay, I'll go through her Facebook wall.
Yeah.
And I saw my sister posted a lot about me. My sister loved me, but I didn't see, okay, I knew she loved me, but on her social, she posted me a lot.
Yeah.
Every time she will say hashtag Rose of Sharon on the post that she has me. Hashtag the Rose of Sharon.
Okay.
Yes, when I researched the Rose of Sharon means beautiful and strength.
Okay. And you didn't even know
At that time.
At that time.
Yes, it's after. And then the only thing that could just, the Rose of, when I started writing or when I started being intentional about turning what I was writing into a book, the Rose of Sharon was.
You know what? Maybe you can have like a social media page, the Rose of Sharon. And then you can post anything and everything relating to Sharon and stuff. And then that will be one of the things that her kids can get when they grow up.
Yeah, that's an idea.
Yes.
But let's, I think our time is almost up. So, the book, guys.
Yes, please. It's still available. They can still get it.
Yes.
Worldwide.
300
Don't care where you are, she will deliver the book.
300 Rand.
Yes.
It's a 3-part book. Part 1 more on GBV, growing up without the mother, the siblingship bond. Part 2, it's HIV, the stigmatization. This part 2, it's actually Shaz's voice.
Okay.
Because that's her writing.
Yes.
You know, the stigma, dating while you are HIV positive, having kids who are HIV negative.
Yes.
Because there are people who think that being HIV positive, it means your life, you know.
Yes.
So she shares all her journey in there. And then part 3 of the book, it's more of towards the her end days, you know, the siblingship bond, you know, everything that led to her passing. And of course, it's not HIV.
No, it's not.
It's not HIV related. So that the part 3, which was actually the hardest part to write. But I feel this book is for anyone and everyone who's going through life issues.
No, I think it doesn't. You don't have to be going through GBV or you don't have to be HIV positive. Like it touches a lot of things in terms of life.
Yes.
As long as you are like open-minded, you can be able to grab a few things from there.
Yeah. So you must come by the Rose of Sharon. If you don't want to read it, you can buy it as a gift, like
And
my
gift it to
friend
somebody.
here.
Yes.
And
I'm gonna buy another one today, and then I know where I'm gonna take it.
Yes, and give it to other people because it is through other people's stories that we gain strength to carry on with life. At the end of the day, guys, don't allow to die when you are still alive, because matata, the life struggles or the life challenges are going to be there.
And stop putting your life on hold, waiting for karma to go strike on the people that hurt you. The people that hurt you, they are moving on with their life, they are achieving big things. While when you are sitting there saying karma will strike them, move on with your life. Move on with your life, please.
With that said, I'm glad that I finished this episode without crying, because I cried before here because I was like, no, I'm not going to cry. I need to talk, because when I cry, it gets messier.
And then you can't talk. And then everything is a mess.
All right. Thank you guys for
Thank
watching.
you.
And don't forget to subscribe, to like, and to comment.
And share.
And share, and come buy the book for only 300 friends.
Okay. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.